Hi everyone and welcome to another Svea Talks, broadcasted live from Sveabank's headquarters in Solna outside Stockholm. Today we'll dive into the report Payments in the Nordics, and using that as a foundation we'll provide insights in how to navigate different markets, understanding what different age groups prefer, and seeing how consumers wish and want to pay. We're doing this from a Nordic perspective, and therefore we've gathered Svea representatives from Sweden, Norway, Finland. So there's a lot of people for you to meet and listen to during these 30 minutes or so. Let's get to it. Well, first I'd like to inform you, those of you who are watching this live, that you may and can submit questions to us throughout this broadcast, and we will try to answer as many as possible at the end. You do that by using the chat next to the player, and well, hopefully we'll get most answers during the broadcast through these eminent guests. I say welcome to Benny, Gustav and Magdalena.
Thank you.
The experts, the representatives from Finland, Norway and Sweden. We will together swiftly and quickly jump between topics, but also over to D-Congress, this major e-commerce event that took place in Gothenburg earlier this March. And during today's webinar, we'll touch base at D-Congress a few times. Here is Sveabank's Camilla Plan meeting a few e-commerce players. So over to you, Camilla.
All right, då står jag här på D-Congress tillsammans med Andreas från Vinoteket. Välkommen!
Tack så mycket.
Hur är läget?
Det är bra.
Vad bra, härligt. Du, kunderna vill ha en friktionsfri och enkel köpresa. Hur ser ni till att kunderna inte avbryter sina köp?
Att processen är så automatiserad som möjligt, skulle jag säga. Så mycket förefyllt som möjligt, så mycket igenkänning som möjligt. Ja.
Igenkänning jätteviktigt. Lojalitetsprogram, är det någonting som ni jobbar med?
Nej, det gör vi faktiskt inte.
Nej.
Av olika skäl, men vi tittar på det. Det är lite komplicerat med vin.
Såklart.
Det är compliance kring det.
Ja.
Man kan inte locka med rabattkoder och poäng etc. Man får ju erbjuda andra saker, service och sånt.
Och vad tror du att får kunderna att bli lojala då, generellt?
Om vi levererar en bra kvalitativ produkt är nog det viktigaste, tror jag. Och att leveransen går väldigt bra. Det är det som värdesätter mest.
Okay, so looking at this report, or maybe you could start with like a quick summary of your most important insights looking at the report. Magdalena.
Oh, I think it is hard to just pick a few, but one key insight for me was the one that there is no solution that fits all. And I think it's become even more crucial for merchants to meet customers as they want to be met. Not because that varies not only between the different countries that we will see, but also across generations. So that was a key insight for me.
Yeah, and I can just follow up on that. I think, knowing your customer is important. And when we talk about omnichannel, which has been, talked about for a long time now, I think we're getting into it to becoming a really hot potato that especially the younger generation, I think, are putting the demands on the retailers and the pure e-commerce players that it needs to work seamless now. The days are over when you couldn't, deliver or shop online and not deliver back in store, and vice versa. So I think omnichannel is even if it's been talked about, it's a really hot potato in the report.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that one thing that sticks out in the study made was the Finnish payment or the bank payments in Finland. It's such a massive, it's a dominating payment method, so it's huge.
All right, so a lot in common and a few things diverse.
Yes.
Finland, Norway, Sweden. Okay, we'll deep more into these things shortly. I just want to start by saying that this report, or reports, since it's divided into two parts, was commissioned by Sveabank and conducted by HUI Research, which is an industry organization owned by Svensk Handel and conducts research, analysis and investigations on trade and tourism, Svensk Handel. And Nadia Habib, who is an associate consultant at HUI Research, we're going to listen to her about her 10 key insights from the report. And it's going to take 6 minutes, so bear with us. Listen carefully, because here she goes.
This is the third year of Payments in the Nordics. The report is a valuable tool for gaining insights into the Nordic payment landscape. It provides insights for retailers on developments in the payment sector and emerging consumer trends. The Payments in the Nordics is based on a survey with 1,000 consumers in each Nordic country, expert interviews, consumer interviews, and a roundtable discussion with representatives from leading Nordic retailers. It's very important to consider that different generations have their own preferences, and preferences may also vary between countries. It's therefore very important as a retailer to think about the target audience and tailor the payment offerings towards different generations, target groups, and the market in which they operate in. A big trend in the Nordics currently is that consumers shop increasingly through their mobile phone. Phones are used for making purchases and for making payments. In fact, Swish, MobilePay and Vipps is by far the most used payment method in 3 out of 4 Nordic countries. When it comes to payments in physical stores, digital wallets is the only growing payment method. It's primarily driven by Gen Z consumers, with 1/3 using digital wallets in their latest purchase in physical store. One of the top reasons to cart abandonment in online stores is that consumers can't find their preferred payment method in the online checkout. It's therefore important to ensure that the right payment method is available to boost conversion rates. Consumers are increasingly worried about fraud today, and we also see that security is much more prioritized than speed. As a retailer, it's important to ensure that consumers feel safe throughout the entire purchasing journey. And we also see that consumers are very accepting towards BankID and MitID, which is integrated in some payments. Using payment methods with BankID and MitID can enhance the security aspect in the payment experience and contribute to a safe feeling for consumers. Many consumers begin their purchasing journeys online and later complete them in physical stores. They also rely heavily on store websites and social media to gather information about products and inspiration. Social media plays a big role for Gen Z consumers and says a lot about their purchasing habits. So consumers in the Nordics have high expectations on seamless transitions between online stores and physical stores, and of course vice versa. And they expect this transition to be frictionless. So as a retailer, it's important to consider every step of the purchasing journey, all the way from looking for inspiration to making the purchase and payment, and eventually the post-purchase and returns. Consumers have high expectations on the AI adoption in retail. By 2030, they see that AI-powered consumer recommendations and assistance in customer service will be there. And many Nordic retailers are already working with AI in their daily operations and in customer service. Loyalty programs is a win-win for consumers and retailers, as consumers receive offers and personalized experiences in exchange for the data. And first-party data is extremely valuable these days due to the phase-out of third-party cookies, and it enables retailers to provide tailored customer experiences and offers. Loyalty programs enables brand loyalty, customer retention, and can lead to higher spending, as we see that consumers that are loyalty members tend to buy more frequently and spend more money at retailers where they hold memberships. The future of payments from the customer perspective is digital. They expect payments to be entirely digital and that self-checkouts will be available in every store by 2030. New EU legislations will impact buy now, pay later solutions. It's still in development, but the aim of the legislation is to increase the responsibility from payment providers to safeguard consumers from over-indebtedness. So it's important to stay informed about the updates in the Consumer Credit Directive.
Thank you, Nadia, very much. Well, she touches a lot of important issues and points that also you observe where you on the markets where you meet a lot of merchants, I would imagine. And we talked a little bit briefly earlier here about the difference between target groups. We talked about how different generations and markets prefer different payment methods. We talked about the importance of omni-channel strategies. If we should stick just a bit to the omni-channel, what do you say from the Finnish perspective, Benny, about the trends surrounding the omni-channel?
Yeah, well, like Gustav already earlier mentioned, I think it is growing. It has been growing for many years, but nothing concrete has happened on a larger scale. But I think the past few years we have seen that the demand has grown from the consumers, and also companies have started to react on that. So I think it's up and coming.
Okay. Anyone else want to say anything about?
Just to add to that, I can see one thing when it comes to omnichannel that's kind of new is that we see at the young generations in Norway, they also want to buy in store and return online, which kind of is a new take on this, that you want to be able to deliver it back online, not go back to the store, which is kind of a new take in this omnichannel thinking. And also the self-checkouts, we see that more consumers prefer paying by a self-checkout, so I think we will see. Yeah, it melts together. Yes, very.
Okay. Straight back to D-Congress and the importance of offering the right payment method. So over to Camilla. She has met Bygghemma.
Då är vi tillbaka på mässgolvet och nu tillsammans med Robin ifrån Bygghemma. Robin, berätta, vart startar era kunder sin köpresa?
Jag skulle säga att vi har lite olika typer av kunder. Vi har de som är långt ner, vet exakt vad de letar efter. Men sen har vi nog också de som kanske är i början av sina projekt och söker inspiration eller vägledning helt enkelt.
Just det. Och vad är viktigast för dem i köpresan då? Varför väljer de er?
Ja, men jag skulle nog säga att utbudet, produkter som vi är väldigt stolta över, bra pris givet. Men sen också att vi har bra leveransalternativ, att man får dem levererade när man önskar. Och sen såklart vilken typ av betalning man föredrar.
Såklart. Vad säljer Bygghemma mest av?
Ja, men just nu är det mycket bad. Det är badsäsong. Men sen är det också stundade vår och trädgård är en stor kategori för oss. Så att jag skulle nog se ett par trädgårdsprodukter som kommer här inom kort.
Just är spännande. Och du som konsument då? Är du en sån person som kollar på online-recensioner innan du gör ett köp? Eller hur gör du?
Ja, men jag tror absolut att det är så. Konsumenten blir mer och mer känslig men också mottaglig för den typen av information. Så bra recensioner är alltid att föredra och vi ser också att de produkterna säljer lite bättre, de som har fått en goda renomméer.
Såklart. Och har du någonsin övergett ett köp för att det betalalternativ som du vill använda inte fanns tillgängligt?
Så tror jag också att det är faktiskt. Vi ser ju det att kunder föredrar vissa varumärken och vissa betalningsalternativ. Så för oss är det väldigt viktigt att kunna erbjuda, ha starka partners och kunna erbjuda egentligen alla lösningar som kunderna efterfrågar.
Ja, men det är viktigt det där. Tack så jättemycket Robin.
Super, tack!
So Magdalena, your thoughts about what Bygghemma says?
Well, I think a huge problem that we hear often about is abandoned carts. And I don't know about you guys, but I think quite often we get the question, how can I increase my conversion? And if you look in the report, you will see why the consumer leave or abandon the cart. You will see that the shipping cost was too high, the preferred payment method weren't available. There was some kind of friction, maybe the checkout froze or you needed to register too much information. So I think it's, we come back to that, it's very important to analyze the frustration and the pain points of the consumer to see what you can do to make them happier. So I don't know if you agree.
But it comes back to what we talked about. I mean, knowing your customer again and again, and understand who they are, how long time they spend in your shop, what they're looking at. I mean, really digging down, as Magda is saying, like analyze your customer base and know how to treat them.
Yeah, you have to have bank payments in Finland if you sell to Finnish consumer and for instance.
Yeah, it's about creating understanding, deeper understanding. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll shortly talk a bit more about how you can do that. We're going to get back to Gothenburg and meet David from Sängvaruhuset Älgen.
Jag är här med Sängvaruhuset Älgen och David, välkommen hit.
Tack.
Har du haft det bra?
Absolut.
Ja, men super, vad kul.
Ja.
Jag tänkte att vi ska prata lite om kundresan. Kunderna vill ha det friktionsfritt. Hur ser ni till att de inte avbryter sitt köp, att de faktiskt går hela vägen?
Ja, jag tror generellt sett att vi har varit ganska dåliga på det. Alltså vi har haft liksom hyfsade snittköp, mycket ordrar. Vi har inte riktigt liksom behövt jobba med effektiviteten i kassan. Sen har vi ju förlitat oss på er såklart, att ni gör ett bra jobb. Men sen har vi kickat igång faktiskt ganska nyligen en gammal klassiker som det här med övergiven kundkorg och så att vi börjar trigga mejl och sådär. Jag tror att kunder kanske, eller handlare varit lite för försiktiga utifrån olika regleringar och så vidare att göra det. Men vi kör på där nu och ser lite vad det kan ge.
Ja, jättespännande ju. Kunderna vill ju ha alla olika betalsätt för att olika kunder, eller hur? Så det är jättebra att ni kan erbjuda allt till kunden.
Ja, men det är mer som man kan ju välja också vilken. Vi kör det mer som en service och hjälp. Vill ha hjälp att slutföra ditt köp så att det inte är så krängigt så liksom.
I hope the viewers are with us. We're moving really quick. The good thing is that you can watch this webinar over and over again as much as you want and as slow as you like on the Sveabank homepage. So interesting, we hear from the Congress. Gustav, your thoughts on how AI will develop online shopping?
It's a big topic.
It is.
You have to agree, but still, I mean, we are in the forefront, in the beginning of AI, right? And taking it to the e-commerce space and to our e-commerce merchants. They are working with efficiency, trying to progress in different ways. But I think AI, if we're looking a bit further and if we try to guesstimate a bit where we're going, I think AI can also help influence to what we talked about, knowing your customer. Analyze more how long they spent at the site, what are they looking on, how long did they spend there, and also who is it, who is behind there, where is the person when they're buying, and try to adopt not only payments method but the payment method that maybe you like, Fredrik, or Magda, what suits you, so we get what Magda is talking about, conversion, that we like emphasizes and try to really get the conversion rates that our merchants want. So I think there's a lot happening with AI. And I'm just looking forward to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this, and I think if you look in the report, 4 in 10 of the consumers think that AI will have a great impact and dominate their shopping experience. And for me, AI, I think that will help us enable connecting in-store and online shopping experiences. For instance, if I'm in a physical store, I think I will be more recognized and maybe more automatically assisted when needed. Or when I'm online, I can have more feeling that I'm in the store trying out new clothes or a new haircut or whatever. So I'm really excited to see what it will help us with.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I think also it's exactly what we talked about before, creating understanding, deeper understanding, and the possibility maybe to customize maybe a flow in the shop or payment methods that are offered or something along that road.
And just to add, in addition, why not let AI as well help us develop what AI should do for us in the future? Crazy, but maybe that's true.
Yes, interesting thought. Yeah.
Okay. Frictionless shopping and convenience are important things as well. But the report also states clearly that the feeling and being secure, of course, is very important. 71% of Gen Z shop where it feels safe, according to this report. So security is something that stands out when it comes to Finland, isn't it, Benny?
Yeah, it's very, very big in Finland, especially among specific generations. I think it highlights it even more. And I think it has to do with us being a bank payment country, or what you want to call it, and because you are accessing your bank account.
But why is that then?
Well, I think there are very many answers to the question, and I don't have any definitive ones. But I think it has to do with our history and our culture. After my parents are born in the post-war time, and it has been pretty tight with money, and you don't want to get debt. So we try to avoid credit, and we pay with bank payments. I think that's a very strong mentality for us in Finland.
Magdalena, you talked about before we went into this webinar about it's a bit contradictory, I think. We talk about 71% of Gen Z shop where it feels safe. At the same time, they're willing to expose themselves more than we are. Still aware of being less secure and exposed to fraud, etc.
I think security is key. Consumer expect their checkout experience to be quick, but also safe. And I find it particularly interesting looking at Gen Z because they spend almost all the time online. So therefore, I think they are also more exposure of the risk of a potential fraud, and also they are very much aware of it. So I think, as a merchant, you need to make sure that you really take the necessary steps to make the consumer really feel safe, meaning to have the preferred payment methods on your site, use a well-known payment provider, be clear on your terms and conditions and returning policies, have your contact information available, but also use techniques like 2FA, like in Sweden, we have Bank ID. We know that consumers feel a bit more safe when they use Bank ID. And if they feel more safe, they are more likely to go through with the purchase.
I totally agree, and I think it's easy things to do, but it's so important to actually do it. And it's also, just to add to the list that you mentioned, provide logos of what kind of payment method you have. It's a super easy thing to do, but do it because it inflicts a kind of a safety recognition. Okay, I know these logos; these are secure brands that I can trust. So I want to go forward with my shopping experience here. So.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a quality stamp because payment companies, we do an audit basically on our merchants, so it's a strong quality stamp for them that we have this well-known payment company as our payment provider.
Can we also just shortly, briefly touch loyalty, which also is very important, of course, and how important is that for Gen Z?
I think it's very important. We're in the report you can read quite a bit about the loyalty clubs, and then by offering things you will create loyalty. But I think also it's important to think beyond the transaction. You want to create a community where you create also emotions among your brand. So of course loyalty clubs and offerings and personalization is very important, but also deliver on your brand promise. Like we talked a lot about the omnichannel, to create a customer journey that is really is amazing. That creates loyalty.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, more on that topic shortly. Back to D-Congress and listen to Henrik from Dema. Over to you, Camilla.
Då är vi tillbaka tillsammans med Henrik från Dema. Henrik, berätta lite, vad gör Dema? Kortfattat.
Superkort, så vi samlar all din data, all din kommersiella data som retailer eller handlare generellt, och se till att du får någonting ut av det och verkligen får ett benkoll på dina grejer.
Just det, och vi pratade lite marknadsföring innan. Hur ska kunderna tänka med marknadsföringen? Vad är trenderna framåt? Vad behöver de?
Det de behöver är att lita på sin magkänsla, det vill säga sluta lita bara på allting som går att mötas med cookies, och investera i verktyg och lösningar som går utanför cookie-baserad liksom tracking.
Thank you. So Henrik touches an important point, of course, marketing without cookies. The people we've met also mentioned what we previously talked about. It's the loyalty programs and brand loyalty. If we should just stick to that a bit, the report states that loyalty is everything. and how do we build loyalty then?
Well, I think one really strong factor to create loyalty is an amazing customer experience. And it's not only about creating great experience, it's also exceeding expectations, I think. So we have to look at the whole process, of course, but if we think about where Svea can help, it's creating a very nice payment process, but then of course we go over to logistics. So if you can over or exceed expectations, for instance, we have some examples in Finland that I know of, that from your online purchase they deliver to your front door within 1 hour. So these type of things, it's such an amazing experience for you that it's faster than driving yourself to the store and back. So I think that type of things, but of course also what happens after you get your products. How are the return processes? Do you get money if you have to return something, or what happens? I think that process is very important to create loyalty.
And I think it's just to add, Benny, that it's not a clear recipe, right? It's a combination of a lot of things. Yes. And I mean, just take into consider when we deliver our invoices and our part payments, we also invite our merchants consumers into the app, or where they can handle their transactions and take care of their payments. In addition to that, we try to, take the invoice. You can do so much more with that, you know. And the part with loyalty, the baseline is about getting the customer back to the store, right? Exactly. This is what we want, and creating that continuous loop that consumers move back. So there's a lot of things, but we can try, as you say, Benny, to do our part of it. Yeah. Or?
Yes, totally agree.
Okay. You want to add something before we move on?
No, just I just agree with you. It's a combination of things to when it comes to create loyalty, and by combining these things, because the consumer, you don't want them just to love your product, this is a nice product, or I like to shop there. You want to create emotions, so they go back. And the best way to do that is of course to personalize, offer, use data available to do that, but also create the community and an excellent shopping journey for your customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Leave that.
Yes.
Move on to BNPL. We've seen a trend where buy now, pay later, BNPL, is becoming more and more regulated. What do you guys say about this discussion? Gustav, where is Norway in this?
You throw these big questions at me. No, I mean, regulation is good, and what we see is, I mean, it's an EU regulative that's, you know, being taken out in different countries. It's been applied in Finland in various stages, in Sweden, and in Norway it's a quite hot potato at the moment. And I think our commitment as a payment provider is always staying on top of the regulations. But we also need to challenge it, right? Because it's an evolving business. We don't really know how this should be. But the most important is that we have to take care of the consumer, right? Not to let the consumers be over in debt. So I mean, it's an ongoing game, and it's a hot topic, I can say.
It's not as hot in Finland. It's not sauna hot in Finland.
No, we're not gonna bother Bastu. But it maybe right now we can say that it's not that hot. But it used to be maybe less than 10 years ago, seven years ago. It was more something we talked about because we have had many different legislations regarding this, and so we are kind of there already, I think, on many parts. So we have a pretty strict laws regarding that. So.
Is that something you Sweden and Norway can copy? Look at Finland and do the same?
No, but as I said, it's an EU regulative, right? But it's taken out in different portions in the various markets. But of course we learn. That's why we're one company, and that our merchants take grant for that they have us as a supplier. I mean, we learn from best practice from our different markets, obviously. So even when it comes to regulation, we can learn. Right?
I mean, exactly. I think what we are seeing when it comes to this regulation, I think it comes from a rising concern in the society about the consumer having too much debt. And as a responsible player, we think it's good that it comes clear regulations that can help us to a more sustainable market. And we as a payment provider and together with our merchants, we will continue to deliver seamless payment solution that drive sales while we are building long-term customer loyalty and trust.
I think that's nice final words. So I hope we've given you insights and answers to the questions that you might have. If not, you've had the chance to submit your questions in the chat. And if you've done so, those will be answered now because it's time for a Q&A. All right, let's see. Okay, Benny, it's not that many Finnish retailers that expand to Sweden and Norway as the opposite. Okay, why is that, you think?
Well, I guess that's a big question and I don't have the full answer, but I think two things that come to mind. First is currency. We are used to euros. And I think maybe it might seem harder than it really is to expand to markets with different currencies. And I guess that's one big part we can help with because it doesn't matter what currency we can operate in the Nordics easily. But I think it's also maybe a language thing. For a Swedish company, going to Norway might seem a bit easier because the language is very similar than maybe coming from Finland to Sweden or Norway or... So I think those are two maybe things that come to mind, at least for me.
Yeah, but now you can use AI to solve the translations. So maybe we'll see more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if there are any more questions. I need to update this. Let's see. So no, that means that you are filled with inspiration and information, and not the least, that you guys have given good insights, complete answers, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, yes. And also good insights both from your own experience and knowledge and your insights from the report as a foundation. It's been great having you here. It's been great having the reports from D-Congress, and again, a big thank you to Magdalena, Gustav and Benny for coming here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
The next Svea Talk is May 22nd, unless you want to watch this over and over again and other Svea Talks on the Sveabank homepage. See you soon again. Thank you.
Thank you.